Good morning. So I have to start off with all my disclaimers. So Pastor Sharp won't say anything to me. I'm going to say some things that are what I'm supposed to say, and then I'm going to say some things that are realistic to your everyday life. So I'm just going to put my disclaimers out there before we even get started. I'm Charity Martin. I'm with Mortgage Financial Services. I have a team of young ladies that work with me. Sharon is outside. She's our loan officer assistant. Opal Morris is also with us. She wasn't able to make it today. She's with her son, doing some scouts for football. So we all know how those things go, everyday life. And that's some of the things that we're going to talk today about. So we want to know, are you ready to buy a home? You have to set financial goals. Good thing is we have a financial coach, our own home financial coach is with us today, Felicia Young. So she's going to help you get some things in place if you wish to. And we also, whenever you're doing everything, we want you to assist your financial situation. You know better than we all know what goes on in your day-to-day life. I'm going to flip this over because I'm trying to read on script and it's going to throw everything off. So you know how it is, what's going on, yourself better than anybody else. Whenever you want to purchase a home, you're going to come visit us. But before you come see us, we want you to figure out how much you can afford, how much you want to pay a month. You can come in and do your application and I'll say, hey, I can get you approved for $200,000. You're going to have about an $1,800 note. Are you ready to go find a home? And you'll look at me like, oh no, I can only afford $1,200. So when you come in, you tell us how much you can afford. We don't want to tell you what you can afford. We want you to tell us, because like Opal, I can tell her, hey, you can get approved for $1,800, but she knows she likes to do the stuff for her son. He plays football. They have to take different trips, doing everything. So she knows she has to factor that in her day-to-day life. So if I tell her, okay, you can afford this amount, she goes and get it. What is she going to sacrifice? Is she going to lose the house, or is she going to tell her son, I can't give you that opportunity? And we know we give our child every opportunity to succeed. So we want them to be their best, do their best. So we're going to do that. So you know in your mind, I can't afford that. Don't worry about what somebody is thinking. Oh, you can get it, girl, go get it. They're not going to help you pay that bill. So keep in mind what you can afford whenever you're purchasing a home. Once, as I stated before, you're doing this home. You may not like me by the time the process is over. If you follow the steps we tell you, you're going to get into this home. But if you start deterring, don't get mad, don't get frustrated, don't say I quit. We're going to say, hey, you didn't do what we wanted, but let's do this. We're going to change it. We'll do this, we'll do that. We're going to get you back on step to get into that home. So don't think that, oh, well, I messed up. No, we understand everybody messed up. We all make mistakes. We're going to get you in that home. Follow the game plan. If something happens, come back to us and say, hey, we need a restructure. We're going to restructure so you can get into that home. We're trying to break curses. Everybody's thinking rent, rent, rent. No, we want you to own. We want to own. So, because if you own, your kids are going to own, their kids are going to own. You're leaving equity. You leaving all of this stuff to your future kids. You may not even know. It may be the great grandchild that ended up moving into that house. My grandmother purchased this house. She wanted us to have security. Now we're changing everything. And that mindset my grandmother did, I know I can do it. So we want you to own your home. Like I said, we're leaving legacies. We're trying to change different things because we want a whole new outlook on everything for everybody. So we're going to get you into that home. So doing that step, you're going to come in. We're going to say, hey, let's review your credit. We're going to do an application. We're going to review your credit. If there are things on there, we'll help you to structure to get it. We're going to write up a scenario, say, hey, this is what you need to do on your credit. Felicia is going to be copied on it. She's going to keep you motivated, and she is a beast. Like, whenever she's going to tell y'all, you will hear her voice. You would definitely hear her voice in your head saying, is this a need or a want? Should I buy? Should I not? Can I go shopping? I was like, me and her daughter, as y'all just saw, I helped her to do a loan. And we had a running joke was, why I keep hearing under my head? Like, I want to go do this, but she keep popping up in our head. So she will pop up because she'll make you think, do I really want to get this? Should I buy it? Should I not? So when you're purchasing your home, there are going to be a couple of things that we're going to need from you before you get started. We need you on your job. We want to see that you've been working for 2 years. So we're going to okay, well, hold on. Let me back up a little bit. We're going to go through rent versus buying first. Renting is easy. It's easy to move. It's less maintenance, less responsibilities, minimum financial commitments. But that's some of the advantages. Disadvantages: no tax benefits, limitation on remodeling, restrictions. On buying, you have the pride of ownership. You have the financial benefits, lifestyle flexibility. Some of the different advantages of the financial commitment, the higher living expenses, and your limited mobility. So once you get over that fact of you're renting versus buying and you determine I'm gonna buy, some of the things that you need to understand with your mortgage payment. When we do your mortgage, the mortgage is going to include your principal, interest, taxes, insurance, mortgage insurance, depending on the loan type, and your homeowners association if applicable, if you're moving into a homeowners association, a condo, a townhouse. So you need to factor all of those things in whenever you determine how much you want to purchase on your home. We're going to look at your ratios. So we're going to look at your front end and your back end ratio. Your front end ratio is your housing ratio. The back end ratio is all of your debt that shows up on your credit. And that's what I was stating to you before. Know how much you want to spend whenever you come in. Determine that amount. Say, okay, I want to spend XYZ, because even though all of your, on a back end ratio part, when we only see what's on your credit, we're not determining that based on all of your other living expenses. Some of the upfront costs that you need to expect whenever you're purchasing a home. You're going to have earnest money, option money, inspections, appraisals, down payment, closing costs, escrows, prepays, reserves, moving costs, and ongoing costs, which is your mortgage payment, utility, and maintenance. When we're telling you these things and we're asking you how much are in your bank account, these are the reasons why. We don't always want to say, oh, well, you have $10,000 in the bank, we're going to make sure we use all of your $10,000. No, we're not doing that, because we know we want you to have reserves. So after you buy that house and you're in the house, you have extra money to make those mortgage payments, make those utilities, make the maintenance repairs. Right now, we're in a government shutdown. Some people are not receiving a check. So whenever we're looking at that, we want you to have reserves just in case you're laid off, just in case you're working for the government and you don't receive a check. You have that nest egg to be able to continue to pay your mortgage. We don't want you to fall apart just for one thing goes wrong, you have one bad experience and everything goes. If you have one emergency come up, you can't make those payments. So that's why we always ask you how much money you have left over. My sheets are really out of order, and I fuss about it all the time when I do other classes and have to teach. But I have to admit today I'm like all over the board with mine because I should have put it in a different order. No, that's what I said. I'm fussing it out because I'm on this one is still out, but it's okay. So you're going to have different types of loans that you can do. We have FHA, VA, USDA, conventional, jumbo, portfolio, subprime, and then special programs for low income buyers through the state. Now, subprime is coming back. If your credit scores are low, they're going to try to sell you on subprime. If you can't prove your income, they're going to try to sell you on subprime. Subprime is a high interest loan. It's basically private investors that are taking a chance on you. They may have you put 10% down, they may have you put 20% down, or they may just charge you a 10% interest rate. Whereas the rates right now are about running 4.5%, 5.5%, depending on your credit score. So you do not want to do a subprime loan. Don't do it. Do what it takes to get your credit scores up. The most important thing right now is credit. The higher your scores, the more valuable you are. As far as getting a loan, the more trustworthy the banks look at you that you are. Even though you could have one bad, X could have just messed up your credit, somebody could have stole it, stole your identity, they're not looking at that. So the best thing to do is to get your credit scores up as high as you can, save as much money as you can to get into that home. Be prepared. Don't walk in being a moving target. Walk in knowing what's going on and have everything together. So we want you to be in that home and know what you have to do, get it, have it together. We're going to try to prepare you as much as we can so that you don't fall into foreclosure. You don't fall having things happen to you. We don't want that. I want those babies to be in a home and have stability. I don't want you to lose a home. I don't want anything like that to happen. Another big thing, and me and Felicia recently started, I've always prayed over the files that we have, but she introduced me to a book, and we've been drawing circles around addresses, around people houses, their names, and just praying over them. The way to get through this, if you really want a home, you're going to have challenges. Every day, something is going to attack you. So the best way to do it is fight it back with prayer. Just keep having faith that you are going to be in the house. If something happens, don't worry about it. Let's move on. Let's see what we can do to get you. Don't fall down and let that overtake you. You overtake it. We're going to get you into this house. The goal is the house. We're going to get there. It may not be a straight GPS system saying you're going this way. We're going to do like the GPS and alter it. Let's go this way. Let's go that way. This happened. Okay, fine. We're going to go around and take a detour. We're going to get you into the home. So don't give up. We're going to get you in there. That is our goal, to get you into that home, but make sure it's a home that you can afford and that you can stay in. Always with the homes as well, the first home, look at it as if it's not the home that you want, look at it as an investment property. Put money into the home, and then you take that money that you got, the equity, and go buy your future home. If you're in school, like with Dahlia bought her first home. She's knowing it can be an investment property. It's what she needs. She's saving money. She sees that she's not throwing it away on rent. She's now able to build her equity. She can use that home in the future to either lease it out to someone else and continue to get money on it, or sell it, use that equity, and go to her next home. So the thing is just to make sure that we're building wealth and helping you to build wealth. On the subprimes, 9 chances out of 10, they're going to be an adjustable rate. I don't care if you're doing a regular FHA loan, if you're doing a conventional loan, even if you choose to go and do that subprime loan, get a fixed rate. Don't, because what's going to be coming back is, like I said, is the subprime loans. They're going to say, oh, well, for 2 years, your rate will be fixed, and after 2 years, it's going to adjust. You can refinance. If your situation hasn't changed and you're not doing anything to change it, it's not going to change. Let's be realistic. You're going to get adjusted to making that higher payment with that higher interest rate. Continue paying it. If your lifestyle changes, go back and refinance. And that's if you choose to do a subprime, which I don't recommend you doing. Don't do the adjustable rate. Stay on a fixed rate. You said, oh, well, I can't qualify for that home. That's not the home for you. That's just our way of saying you need to find a different home. This is not your home. We sometimes force things to happen that we don't, and force ourselves into different situations. Then when we get there, we're like, well, why did I do that? God was already showing you that was not where you needed to be. That was not the right choice. So sometimes we just need to be mindful, listen, and say, okay, this might not be the one. I know God is providing the right one. So we want you to keep a fixed interest rate. Don't do an adjustable rate. Go with the fixed rate. But understand your types. There are fixed rates, there are adjustable rates, there are balloon payments, there are graduated payments, and there's interest-only payment. And if you get on an interest-only payment, be mindful that principal is not changing. You're only paying that interest. That is the only thing. It's going to be a real cheap note, but you're only paying the interest. You're not doing anything towards that principal. So if it's spread out over 5 years, over 10 years, you've only paid that interest to stay in that home. So it's basically almost like you rented that home because you're only paying the interest. Nothing went towards your principal. Whenever we have you come in, we're going to ask you for your driving license to verify who you are, your social security cards, 2 years of W-2s and tax returns. We're going to ask you for your assets. We want your bank statements. We want your 401ks. We want anything that shows where your money is, what you can liquidate, what you have. And like I said, we don't want you to go on your 401k and say, oh, I want you to take out a loan if you have the money in your bank. No, we want you to have that as reserves so that we can see if something happened in the future, we know you have access to that money that you can continue to making your mortgage payment. You're getting a mortgage. It's a business. They want to make sure they make their money off. The banks make their money off of interest. Whoever's lending you the money, even if it's a for sale by owner, they're making their money off of interest. So they want to make sure that you can make that payment. That is the biggest thing. We have to protect them. And I mean, think about it. They're sending out billions of dollars. So they want to make sure that they can get their money back. They're in the game to make money. It's a business. It's their company. A company is not going to run if they can't make money off of you. So they're making money. They want to make sure you can pay it. They're not trying to just grab all of your money up front and say, hey, no, they want the money over longevity, because that's how they make double if you take the whole 30 years to pay it back. So the best thing to do to protect yourself whenever you're making those payments, if you get that income tax in, throw it on apply it to the principal. You know that you're paying that house off and you're not paying all that extra interest. We're also going to ask you for 1 month of pay stubs. We want you on your job for 30 days. Yes, we have to show that you've been working consecutively, but we need you on we need to make sure you've been there for 30 years. We want to make sure you have been working for the past 2 years. I'm sorry, the past 30 days. We want from that current company that you want to make sure you've been working for 2 years. Whenever you're on your job, we got to make sure that you're not about to get laid off, that you've been there, you're consecutive, you show up. So we are going to do a verification of employment to make sure that you are there, that the probability of you continuing is good. We have to show that you have stability, that you will be able to make that payment. Everything will work out. If you are a veteran, we'll need your DD-214. If you have a home, we'll need a current mortgage statement. We also need your homeowner's insurance policy if you're a current homeowner. And if you're not, then we need the contact information of who you would choose to use for your homeowner's insurance. We can give you referrals. We tell you shop around, see who your current car is with. Call them, verify how much it'll cost for them to insure you. So we're going to give you a couple ideas on homeowners insurance. If you've been divorced before, we'll need a copy of your divorce decree. If you receive child support, we'll need a copy of the child support order and the printout to verify that the individual has been making their payments. Right now, we currently do loans. We take the W-2 only. Tax time is coming up. Sometimes we have to have your tax returns. One of the problems, and people say, hey, you need my tax returns. Why show the job? I show the company on there. You may not even have that company. And it's basically depreciating your income so that you could get earned income credit back, or you just pay less in taxes. That actually hurts you whenever you're trying to purchase a home. We have to show that loss on your taxes. Well, I don't even have the company that wasn't really a company. Well, you show that to the IRS. We're pulling tax returns. So we have to, even though the government is shut down, mortgage went into a crisis. They didn't want the mortgage to go into a crisis. That part of the IRS is back open as of yesterday or whatever, because they knew, and it's crazy because if you're a big lobbyist, you can get what you want done in the government. They opened that part up. They said, hey, the mortgage companies pay for it. They open it back up. So we're able to pull your tax returns and see how much your tax returns are. So you can't bring me fraudulent tax returns and expect me to use those. I verify that with the IRS. So whenever you're doing the loan, the most important thing is being honest with your mortgage person. I don't care if you use me, you use someone else, be honest with whoever that you're using, because we will find out. We'll find out what's going on, and our thing will be, hey, why didn't you tell us that this was happening? Why didn't you tell that was happening? Because your mortgage person is painting a picture for you to the underwriter. So if I paint one picture and she finds something else out, I can't go back and say, oh, I lied. Oh, that's not really what happened. This is what's going on now. So they're going to say, okay, Charity, who's committing fraud? You or the individual? So we have to watch that. So we can't do that. We don't want to commit any mortgage fraud. Be honest with your loan officer. Disclaimer, let them tell you what the truth is, so that you can get into that home. We're not going to do anything that's fraudulent to get you in that home, because you're not going to keep it if we do that. So tell us what's going on, and we may say, instead of just saying something this way, say it that way. It's the same thing, but it's all about how you word it. So like I said, be honest with us, give us the clear picture, and let us determine how we're going to go about helping you achieve that goal. You can obtain a loan from several different individuals. You can go through a mortgage broker, such as our company. You can go through banks, savings associations, credit unions, nonprofit organizations, state or local financing agencies. You can go straight through the seller. And I will say, if you go directly through the seller, go to the title company. If that individual does not own that home, they can't sell it to you. So if they have a lien on it, they can't truly sell you that home. You're basically renting. So if they foreclose because you're making your payments to them, but they're not making their payments to the bank, you don't have a home. So you were truly just renting. So they have to own that home. And if they own it, you can go to the title company. You can have that title placed in your name, and then they can be the lien holder. So if you're going to do a owner finance, make sure you go through the title company. There's also USDA rural development loans that you can obtain. Whenever you're obtaining a loan, get referrals. Ask individuals, hey, who did you use? Is this a good company to go with? Determine that. I would hope that you choose us. But if you have your sister say, hey, I went through this company, they did a great deal for me, go with them. Get referrals. Figure out who you want to choose to do your loan with. Whenever you first obtain your loan, you're going to do a pre-approval. You're going to order and review your credit. We're going to review your income and your assets. Once we review everything, we're going to do a loan application. We'll sign disclosures. You'll gather additional information. We'll gather additional documents. You do not own that home until you sign on that dotted line at the title company. So if my underwriter calls and say, hey, I want this sheet of paper, you have to turn it in. You may not like, why I'm writing this letter? Now, why I have to write this letter? Because they asked. They're giving you their money on good faith. If you had to turn over $100,000, some of us, if we have to turn over $100, we want to know, hey, how you going to pay us back? What's going on? They want to know the same exact thing. So if you're getting their money, they want to know how are you going to pay us back? We want to know, why did you have this late pay? We want to know, why did you have a 30-day overdraft fee that happened in December, it happened in January and we're in December. So we want to know what happened, what went on. They just want to verify whatever happened is not something that will happen again. So once you get once we do the loan application, we're going to do your loan process, and we're going to verify, we're going to order the appraisals, we're going to pull a title. As Sherry was stating, judgments don't show up on your credit anymore. The title company will pull those. So if you have a judgment, let us know. You have to pay that judgment off, because title will pull it and we will see it. Once we get that title report, it'll have to be paid. So let us know ahead of time. We can call with you if we need to. Just go ahead and get those judgments released and get those settled out. You don't have to pay the full amount. We can see if we can get it, get a lower amount so that you can settle it. Once we do your loan, finish your loan process, the underwriter is going to review it. Once she reviews the file, she approves it, and then you go to your closing. Once we get you pre-approved for your loan application, that's whenever you go and we tell you, and we all determine how much you can get approved for. When you figure out how much you get approved for, Amy is going to come and speak on the real estate side. Felicia is also a realtor, so she'll be able to take you out, show you your home, and then that's what how much you're going looking for, because you don't want to go blindsided in saying, oh, I want this $200,000 house, and then we say, well, no, you only approved for $150,000, and then you didn't did a contract, you didn't lost money, did all these things. So make sure you follow the steps, you get approved, then you start looking for a home, because you don't want to lose money and spending money on getting inspections and getting everything done, and we can't get you into that home. So be mindful. We're going to come back later for questions, and I'm going to turn it back over to Pastor Sharp.